What's going on, Fresno, California? We are Change Fresno. I am Chart in the Box, and
Stuart Webb.
Sam is behind the camera right now, and he wants us to get our feet wet over here. So we're going to start with the show talking about talking points, because see, that's one thing that they do with the media today in America is they give us talking points. The White House puts out propaganda. These globalists that are taking over our country, they put out propaganda and they send it to the big, let's say, NBC, CNN, Fox, those types. And then it gets filtered to your little local TV stations. And they always repeat the same thing. That's why you could go to Texas, go to New York, go to even Alaska and listen to their news at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. It's almost mirrored the same, except for the local commentary of the talking points. So we want to cover some of those talking points just to point out the hypocrisy in some of them, or just point out to don't even pay attention, because when this is happening with this talking point, at the other hand, there's always something else happening over here, right?
Always. Just like you said, if you go around the country, all your local stations are covering the national stories, the national narrative, right? And then they'll go to local news or whatnot. Well, I can't watch local news anymore because it is basically parroting the national narrative, which is basically the White House, what the White House basically allows local news stations to talk about. And that's why local news, unless you're covering real issues, has no ratings. No one watches you. Sorry, if you think you're a big star because you do a segment on ABC 30, you're not. No one really knows no one of value really knows or cares that you're doing that segment on Miley Cyrus's new music video where she's half naked or whatever. Yeah. But back to talking points. We got this Boko Haram terrorist group video, or this terrorist group has captured girls, and it's all over the news everywhere. I can't get around it. It's being covered everywhere. And really, my first question when I hear these talking points is, what does this have to do with America and our problems here? And the answer is?
A demoralization of American society.
Exactly. We are covering something in Africa that's going on to distract us from real, actual problems that we have here. There's child slavery rings here in America. There is prostitution rings. I mean,
in Washington.
Yes, this is happening. Look at Penn State. Look at Jerry Sandusky. I mean, he was raping young boys, just broad daylight, basically. And everyone that was in the administration at Penn State pretty much knew. I mean, at the highest levels, knew that it was going on, and nothing was done about it. So we have real problems here. And of course, it's horrible what's going on in Africa with these girls. But what about American girls that are being raped and killed and sold? That's not being talked about. And now the reason that they're talking about this Boko Haram group is because it's going to further our agenda in Africa, to invade, reasons to invade Africa.
Yep.
And they're trying to set the agenda to make us, they're using our empathy to want to invade more countries that they're not going to save these young girls. They don't care about those young girls. They want a reason, just like the whole Coney deal.
Yeah.
They want us to invade because one guy in another country did some bad things and apparently hasn't been seen for years. We cannot police the world. We have real issues here.
Yes, we do. Okay, see, like one thing I talk about talking points is something that I seen recently, because I go to drudgereport.com. I do a radio show and I do videos weekly on YouTube, and I'm always searching the news. And one thing that I say on my radio show, that's why I told him let's cover talking points today, is because if you go to drudgereport.com on, I think it was Monday, when you see Angelina Jolie, and she had all this white powder all over her face. So they wanted the news for the next day to be pointed in that direction because of Angelina Jolie. But on that exact same day when that story came out, there was another article that came out. And a lot of other alternative media started covering it. And what was that? It was that the Obama administration let out over 26 felons with the backgrounds of rape, drunk driving, selling drugs, and a lot of other heinous felonies that Americans would be kept in there for. But why would they be doing that for? Because when the social unrest comes, they want those criminals out on the streets. They're releasing a lot more prisoners early. And why? Is because when this upcoming collapse happens, they want more people on the streets. They're anticipating, America. They're anticipating. They're getting ready for this collapse coming up, and they know how you're going to react to it. They know that people are going to hit the malls. They know that people are going to hit the grocery stores. They know there's going to be chaos in the streets, and they're getting ready for that. That's why they're going to keep you heavily entertained and distracted from understanding about all the ammo they're buying, all the purchases with the guns, all the police state and all the cameras. Don't talk and entertain them with this. Keep them distracted. Keep them talking about the talking points. So what is the conversation that you have on Monday? What's the conversation you have after that NFL draft? I didn't even know nothing about this guy, Sam, or whatever his name was. I didn't, honestly. He was on the cover of Drudge for like 3 days. Yeah. But I knew it had something to do with the NFL draft, so I didn't want to cover it. Until the day when he got signed, there was a picture of him and his boyfriend kissing. Well, that's exactly a talking point. That's why they heavily keep you guys talking about either Angela Jolie or the Oscars or how someone's dressed or Kim Kardashian or Angela Jolie. It's sad. We have to stop talking about those issues. We have to stop paying attention to those things. That's why they're dwindling in viewers. That's why people aren't going to 26 and 47. You know what you guys should do? Trust me, you're going to see me in there do this one of these days. I'm going to confront them, and I'm going to tell them, why don't you tell the people your opinion about the Trans-Pacific Partnership? Yeah. Can you explain to the American people about Agenda 21, about GMOs? Can you explain to them about the barium being sprayed in their atmosphere with the chemtrails? And I'm willing to bet 26, Channel 30, all these reporters that you guys see live don't know how answers to it. Or why? Because they haven't been prepared for it. Or there's not a script on the teleprompter. Those people are glorified actors. Why do you think Arnold Schwarzenegger made it so easy as a governor? Because he's a glorified actor. He had his script. He knew what to tell you. And then you bid onto it. You played in the movie for what, 2 to 3 years, 4 years, whatever it was. See, America, these are real issues. We have to stop paying attention to this distraction. We have to stop paying attention to all this the pleasing of our flesh, of really understanding what's going on and searching knowledge. It empowers you as an individual. If we take that power away from Washington, we take that power away from the government, they fear you, America. They fear you. That's why we're trying to get this knowledge to you guys with We Are Change Fresno TV.
That's exactly right. All your local media people, they're not real media people because they really don't do research. They don't do real research on real issues. Trans-Pacific Partnership, just like he said, they have no idea what that is. They don't know what the UN Agenda 21 is. They have no idea. In fact, they'll probably think you're a kook, or they know what's going on, but they're told, hey, this is going on, but you can't talk about it because then you're a kook. It's the doublethink, okay? And so, of course, they don't want to lose their job and whatnot, but really, their job's going to be gone anyway.
Yep.
And really, no one really is watching you that has a conscience, that's actually, that's not a zombie. I mean, people that watch local news, I'm sorry, most people are in a trance state. They're just going through the motions. They don't actually think. They don't actually have opinions. They don't think critically. And back to the talking points. NFL draft, I mean, at this point, I honestly thought, as things got worse and worse, people really would stop caring about professional sports. But as we get deeper into this collapse, it seems that people, to stay sane, they just have to identify with someone else who likes sports so that they feel normal.
Yeah.
But really, I'm thinking, I can't even have a conversation with you if you're not talking about something real. And you said this earlier in the show with Sam. You said people don't want to talk about religion or politics. That is such a cop-out. That's what you should be talking about. Yep. Those are the two most important things when it really comes down to it. Religion, who created you, and how do you want to live your life? Yep. That's important. Your religion, regardless of if you're atheist or not. It's how you live your life, your religion, how you go about your day, how you treat other people.
Yep.
And politics, the people that actually can stop you from doing that, can affect you, can affect your life. So the two things that matter most, you don't want to talk about. You want to talk about the Giants-Dodgers. You want to talk about who the Niners drafted or this Michael Sam guy. And look, I got no problem with the fact that he's gay and he kissed his boyfriend on national TV, because that doesn't concern me. I'm not going to spend my time watching it and obsessing over it because I'm worried about UN Agenda 21. I'm worried about real things. So just like you said, talking points, they're going to continue to cover these meaningless, like the Angelina Jolie thing. I mean, we're talking about powder on her face? Really? Powder on her face, and Obama allowed the release of, over 36,000 dangerous criminals. And yeah, and you know what that reminds me of? Batman Begins. That's what happens in the end of the movie, is that they allow chaos. They let out all the prisoners and they say, do what you will, because they're already going to destroy the city anyway. So they do want chaos, because it's easier if we're all fighting amongst each other, then nothing can get done, and everyone's just either so depressed or they're angry and they don't really know how to organize. That's why we're on the SPLC's group of hate groups, because we're a danger to them, because we're actually people that care about real issues, and we're trying to get together and decide what to do about them. They don't want that. They want you in front of the television talking about I just can't have conversations with people about it. If it's not a real issue, I can't have a conversation with you.
Yeah, I do though. See, this is one thing this is what I realize, people, because what we need to do is change our actions. We need to change our conversations. We need to change what we're talking about, everything, our whole complete lives. It's a whole 180, 360. You ask the people, I don't know what camera we're on, but you ask the people that I grew up with in the city of Fresno, they would be like, oh, I know who Charlie is, right? But that's me growing up and me searching and researching knowledge today. Today, ever since I got with We Are Change Fresno, I've learned so much. And like he said about the TV, about the way that we look at TV, when you sit in front of the TV, when you sit in front of the video games, what it does, it brings to your mind of a beta state of mind. It's like a zombie trance. You know, when you get zoned out, you're just vegging and watching TV. Well, they know that's exactly the lack of consciousness of the American people. But it's through the heavy propaganda that they got us in a mind state of continuously living like that, never questioning things, never looking up, never standing up. Because when you get to that, it's critically thinking, consciously thinking, now you're in a beta state of mind. Then there's action. Then there's change. They don't want you to be like that. They want you to be docile. They want you to be content. They want you to be doped up, either on some kind of medication or alcohol or distracted. Why do you think more Americans today are some kind of opiate, some kind of drug, some kind of medication that alters the state of mind?
He's right. We got the masses. We got the masses doped up on everything. They don't want us acting like real humans, because a real man would get angry and do something about what's going on. They would at least get angry and try to figure out a way to fight it. I know it's tough, but they would figure out a way. And really, I mean, we got a bunch of guys that just sit around and watch football all day. And there's no excuse when people say that they're bored. I mean, I went from work all day, straight to the gym, right to this show, and then I got to go back and I have to go back to my office to work more. So I still find time to make this show happen and to cover real issues because I care. And it's just, they're going to try to make everyone so poor that they have to work 3 or 4 jobs to make ends meet, so they can't fight the New World Order. But you just have to get out, stop watching television. I mean, who really has time to watch TV when all this is going on? I mean, there's just so much going on. There's so much. We're living life right now through television and not in the real arena of life. Okay, if you want to shoot zombies on the Xbox. You need to stop doing that. Get a real gun. Actually learn how to use a real gun safely. Learn learn how to defend your family, and that's being in the arena of life, okay? Shooting, desensitizing yourself by playing Xbox all day and shooting people on the video screen is just, that's not real. That's not actually happening. That's why when people talk about video games, I can't, it's a video game. It's not real. It is fake. You're actually a person. You're alive. Do things. Be alive. Don't just sit in a beta state and be and watch TV all day and watch daytime television. I mean, really, there's just so much. There's no reason to be bored. There's so much to do, and we just covered a town hall meeting last night, and I'll be honest, I was the youngest person there by far. I'm 24, and it really pains me to think that all the people my age and younger just have no idea or even care about what's going on, and it's shameful. It's shameful. You can't not care because you will care. You know, you can say that you don't really care, but in the back of your mind, you know that if you don't prepare for what's going on mentally and physically prepare, don't come to my door asking for help.
Talking points, America. Talking points, if you guys looked at TV, I don't know if you guys got me over there. If you guys look at TV, right, haven't you guys noticed when I was a kid, like the Brady Bunch or Knight Rider, you know what I'm saying, Transformers, that there would be a season once a year, and then later on in the year, there'll be a reruns. But now today, because of the bombardment of propaganda in Hollywood, that there's 2 seasons in a year. And the demoralization, that's why today, with the humor that we have, you have to literally put your morals to the side to go get a laugh. And then when you have to do some prayers and wash yourself spiritually to get a little bit of a laugh today. Well, because of what they're doing in Hollywood, because of the propaganda, the talking points of what they're distracting us with, we as Americans have to come to the realization of how much trouble we're in. But the thing about it, America, is there's not going to be anybody else that's going to invoke this change. It's you as the individual. If we educate and empower the individual, what that does, what you're going to end up doing is you're going to start getting this knowledge that we covered on We Are Change Fresno, or if you go do your research at drudgereport.com, Infowars, or FresnoForward.com, and you start looking this stuff up and you start researching yourself, you're going to end up calling another one, hey, what are you doing right now? I just read the story. Check this out. Look at, man, I heard this, da-da-da-da-da-da. And then when you go to work at the water cooler, hey, yeah, I heard this. Well, it's about Kim Kardashian. No. Check this out. And then what it does, it evokes thought changing, processing of information. And then what they're going to do, they're going to start doing the same thing because that's what people are doing. See, if we as people keep going to the TV, or we as people just keep entertaining ourselves, they know there's never going to be a change. But when the people invoke change, when the individual finally gets fed up with all the bad stuff that's happening to them, tell me how many of you people that are in retirement right now that are just dwindling your savings at an astronomical rate. Tell me how many of you guys are losing that savings that you're trying to save for your retirement. The middle class is under attack at an astronomical rate. It's just a bombardment of taxes and regulations on us. But with the talking points, they keep us entertained. Well, watch this football, or watch that basketball, or look at this fight, or watch this MMA thing. Whatever it is, keep you distracted, keep you entertained. But more and more people are waking up to the truth. More and more people are searching out knowledge, and I respect that, and I love that about you guys. America, you're so strong, you're so independent, you're so worth more. But they've beat us down, they manipulated us, they brainwashed us to think that there's really nothing you can do, and this is just the way it is. But when you come to the realization of really getting knowledge, of understanding, learning about our country, the difference between a republic and a democracy, and with the democracy, the power is always with the government. Well, knowledge, real true knowledge, is the powers with the people, with the republic. And keeping government with checks and balances with the system and accountability, dude, there's power. That's where the talking point should be. That's why we changed our talking points on We Are Change Fresno. We're not going to come out with you entertainment. We're not going to come out with you to give you guys something that you're going to be all happy to walk away with. I'm sorry, you can't do that no more. We don't have that luxury no more. We have to invoke change within our society, and that's invoking change within you. When we change you, we change the world for our kids. Bring back God back to the picture, because if you look at the symbolism in Hollywood and what we're doing as a people with that statue over there in, is it Connecticut? Oklahoma.
The Baphomet.
Yeah, it's like we're going into a darkness. We're going to a society that it always destroyed nations. If you do your research about it, if you believe in God or not, just look at any society. When this society is heavily entertained and distracted, they destroy themselves. And that's with any form of democracy. That's why they want you to think you live in a democracy, because a democracy will always lead to an oligarchy. But see, that's just knowledge. That's not talking points. See, if I've entertained myself with talking points as a young man and as an adolescent, but now that I'm a grown-up, now that I'm a father, now that I'm a man, I don't have that luxury no more. I can't do that no more. Because even though my kids are going to grow up to be men themselves and they will protect themselves and their family, but it's still my responsibility as a parent to take care of them. And it's your responsibility too. So stop with the talking points, stop with the entertainment, and stop with the distraction. Give it real world knowledge, and check yourself. Look within yourself. See, most people look at themselves in the mirror and they think that's who they are. That's not who you are, America. Who you are is how you treat others, what you do unto the world, how you carry yourself. Do you show compassion? Do you show love? Do you show faith? That's who you are. Because if they chopped off my arm, would I not still be Charlie in the Box? If I was burned from head to toe, would I still not be the soul within myself that presides and wants freedom and wants liberty? Yes, that's who I am. Because that's the way I was made. That's how I carry myself. So America, who are you? That's what we need to get to. We need to take away the distracting points. We need to take away that entertainment and get to who you are on the inside. And what do you stand for? Because if you do not stand for something, you will continuously fall for everything.
Totally agree. America, we were the strongest, the most just wealthiest nation in the world, and we had morals. We are a sleeping giant just waiting to be aware. I mean, I know people that are so capable of doing this. We should have 20 people here every week really fighting the New World Order, fighting the tyranny. So we have it within ourselves, but we're so distracted with talking points, okay? Let's go to Jay-Z, for example. This whole Beyonce's sister slaps him around or whatever. It has nothing to do with anybody, but because Jay-Z's such a public figure in this, he means so much to America, they have to cover it, and everyone wants to talk about it. He's a Satan worshiper. I mean, he wears "Do What Thou Wilt," an Aleister Crowley motto, on his sweatshirt. When you look at Jay-Z, he's got no soul. Why do we care about his new album? Why do we care about what he is doing, or if he's getting slapped around by Beyonce's sister? It's a talking point that has nothing. It's not important to anyone. Eventually, you're not even going to be able to buy his album, without, maybe putting your house up for sale. Come on, guys. There's real things going on. The talking points, we got the New York Times editor, one of the editors was fired, I believe. Fired after asking for equal pay. And this is another talking point to distract us, to get us on the women versus men agenda again. Okay, women, if you keep acting like the state is your husband or your dad, you're not going to have either. So, and that goes for men too. Men, start being men, so that women actually can have good husbands and you can have a family and children. So they're going to divide and conquer with the whole women, the war on women. I don't even understand what that means. War on women. The women are going into war. They're allowed to go into battle now. So I don't understand how there's a war on women when they want to go into battle. So I thought men were supposed to do that job. Hey, if you want to go into battle, whatever. So we need to quit with this. It's meaningless. And I know there's very strong independent women that have been forced into the situation to take care of themselves because men weren't being men, and I get that. So men, you start being men, so that women don't have to have the state as their husband, okay? But that's another talking point, and it's to get us distracted from, I don't know, let's see, Dinesh D'Souza, getting arrested for donating money. I mean, come on, when Obama gets millions of dollars from foreign accounts during his campaign, I mean, come on, it's just real issues that they don't want you to talk about. And the New York Times, it's irrelevant that we're even talking about an editor that got fired because the New York Times is not relevant. How often do you read the New York Times?
Never do.
They don't say anything of value, and they don't cover real issues. Start covering the Federal Reserve, printing more money, more still. I mean, we cannot keep printing money. It'll be worth nothing. Do people really not understand that concept? It's not worth anything, okay?
Okay, look at, you always want to see how there's talking points. Why don't you look at your Fresno Bee? Has it not got smaller throughout the years? Because they cover talking points. They don't cover real news. They're really not journalists anymore. I tell you, they get an article printed from the White House telling them, this is what you're going to talk about, this is what you're going to cover, and this is the way you're going to cover it. These are the key points that you're going to say, and you can fill in the blanks in between. And if you looked at drudgereport.com, when it says, what it says? It says, New York Times stock memo. Our journalism advantage is shrinking. Just like CNN and Fox viewership is shrinking because the people today want some real news today. They know consciously things are all messed up and they don't want the talking points anymore. Why do you think they keep pumping out new TV shows? Because they need to keep you entertained. They want you talking about Honey Boo Boo or Duck Dynasty. They need to bombard you with this distraction and the talking points. They need to make the news when the news is there itself. That's why they tell you, heed the warning, America. That's what they tell you. What do they say? Don't go to drudgereport.com. We need to heavily regulate the internet today. The FCC needs to regulate the internet today. Because why? That's where Americans are getting their news today, from alternative media. That's why you watch We Are Changed Fresno TV. And that's why you're not watching CNN and Fox right now. That's why you're watching 26 or 24. Because there's a stark contrast of news and topics we're covering. Totally different. What we're covering here, what Sam covers with you here, is something you're not getting from there. That's the question. Why? Why are they not covering this? Why are they not giving you this knowledge, America? And it's because they're living and they're growing in this progressive utopia of collectivism. They're not going to talk, they're not going to give you guys this knowledge. They don't want to point this out. They're not going to introduce you like Sam did to Defend Rural America, Agenda 21. Look it, just because it hasn't hit you in your own pocketbook or slapped you in the face doesn't mean it's not going to affect you. Thomas Paine, America, one of America's early revolutionaries that wanted to gain independence for America, he said you must even guard your enemies from oppression. Because if they want to try to silence We Are Changed Fresno for giving you guys knowledge, warning, America, warning. They're going to say, hey, well, did you look at Jay-Z? Did you look at that over there? Watch 26, watch 24. Because those are talking points. Warning, America, warning. I could give you so many quotes by different founding fathers, but
there's so much to go over.
Yeah, there is.
The thing is, come on, it's ridiculous. The people that are trying to do some good and realize that there's bad things going on and that want to help and try to do something like cover issues and tell people about them, those people, most of them are so busy working, to actually pay for all the other people that are not working, that sit around watching meaningless things, that it's getting harder and harder. So really, we just need to make that decision to shut off Fox News and CNN. I mean, it's just, I can't even watch it. It's just such an act. These people are plastic. I'm serious. Like Fox News, those people aren't even real people in my eyes. Like, they just aren't real, okay? Let's get to California lawmakers' way, taxing drivers per mile. We talked about Agenda 21. For those of you who think that it's not real, it's happening it's happening everywhere. But just recently, the U.S. Forest Service shut down 2 million acres of public access land, and the map of it looks very similar. This right here, all these acres shut down. We can't use them because, you know, the Endangered Species Act. It looks very similar to the UN's map of, you know, sustainable living right there. It's very interesting how those match up.
Like that.
Yeah, and you get to this California lawmakers weigh taxing drivers per mile. This is part of Agenda 21. So it says, state lawmakers are looking at new ways to fund road repairs in California. One alternative is to tax motorists for every mile they drive. Currently, people pay a blanket tax at the pump, but thanks to fuel-efficient vehicles, the tax isn't generating what it used to be. So first, they try to get us to drive these Priuses, but then they're not making enough off the gas taxes to pay for the road repairs. So they say that I guess we just have to not move now. I mean, we just can't drive at all because they're not making enough revenue off the gas tax when they pushed the whole, you know, smart cars or whatever to save on gas and to be healthy for the environment. So really, what was the point of moving to a Prius if they're just going to tax you per mile anyway now? So you're trying to save on gas, you're trying to get more miles to the gallon, but now they're just going to tax you by how many miles you drive, so it ain't going to matter. But really, this has nothing to do with money. Well, I mean, it has to do with money, but money's, in my eyes, it's not worth anything anymore. This is about control. They don't want you traveling.
Yep.
That's why it's the same with the TSA. They don't want you traveling. I hate going to the airport. I hate it. So already they've done their job in making me hate flying because I hate the TSA. I think it's so ridiculous what we have to go through to get on a plane where the pilots can't even have a gun in the cockpit, even though they're flying, you know, a massive jet at 600 miles an hour. They could fly it right into a building and blow up the whole building or kill a bunch of people, but they can't have a gun in the cockpit. See, it has nothing to do with terrorism. It has nothing to do with safety. It's about controlling us. We are slaves to them. You got to be kidding me. Taxing us per mile? See, they said that they're going to do a study in like 2016, I believe. Yeah, 2016. Well, I mean, that after that first year, I'm sure the study will say, well, yeah, this is definitely working, so we're going to implement it. So we're covering this now because when it actually does become a talking point, eventually, probably in a couple years, maybe the mainstream media will cover it. Maybe because so many people are calling in about it and saying this is ridiculous because when it starts to affect you, that's why we cover this stuff now, because when it starts to affect you, you are going to say, well, how is this happening? How is this happening?
How did it get done?
It's because you were watching the latest episode of that one Basketball Wives or whatever.
Yep.
And while you should have been reading these articles.
Yep.
So it's about control. They want you in 200 square foot cubicles to live. And We Are Change Fresno was at the town hall meeting last night, and we had a developer, discuss Fresno's general plan, and they're trying to they're trying to move inward to populate Fresno's downtown because they don't want people they don't want any development out of certain boundaries because they want the masses in a little area so they can control you.
Yep.
Okay? And I mean, if it's not about control, what is it about? It's not about animals.
Nope, it isn't.
Because
It's about the earth.
It's about the earth. Sam said that.
It's not about the animals. There's been so many fires in California this year because the forests are not taken care of properly.
Yep.
As in, they're not being logged. They're not being
managed.
They're not being managed correctly. And that's partly because they're not allowing people to go into the forest or any industry to happen in the forest. Regardless, I was thinking about this today. You're born into this world. No one has the right to tell you what to do. No one. Okay, if you're not hurting someone, if you're not damaging their property. It's the natural law. If you're not hurting someone else, there's no victim, you have committed no crime, no one should be able to tell you what to do if you're not hurting anyone else. This is public access land, and they've just said no because we're just going to, but because of policy, the Endangered Species Act, we're just not allowed the public to use it. And so, hey, all those liberals that like to go camping and actually enjoy the forest and actually like to, you can't even do that now. So I mean, what? And I don't mean to bring up the whole liberal conservative argument. They both are basically the same thing. It's just the talking points have told you that hey, if you're a liberal, you believe this. If you're a conservative, you believe that. No, we're all the same.
Yep.
I mean, we're all humans. I'm not saying we're all the same, but we're all humans, and we all basically want freedom at heart. But we can't see that it's under attack because of that new show or that new movie or that. It's just, come on. Get up off the couch. Do something. I mean, I don't know. Your thoughts, Charlie?
Well, see, like he said, you're not going to see the effects of all these little tracking devices in your cars in the long run. They've been putting them in our automobiles for the past 2 years. I think in Germany, they've had them. In Europe, they've had them for the last few years, and they already implemented the tax. Well, see, the stuff that you're going to see today, well, it was in the works a decade before. They're not going to come out and just tell you, look, this is what we're going to do to you. This is how we're going to control you. But they're going to implement it little by little. So by the time they fully implement it, you've been bamboozled. You didn't even know what happened. How did we get to this point already? Well, because you were distracted and entertained with all the talking points. We as people don't know these things, and we're not told about them because the people that we look at the news, like Channel 44, Channel 30, Channel 47, they go to college to be professional actors. That's why they read from a teleprompter. That's why they're so proper the way they conduct their business. Well, you could see the totally difference from We Are Change Fresno's coverage of news.
This is real right here.
The way we cover news compared to them. Because you know what? We're going to go up to the articles. We're going to read them. We're going to check them out for yourself. We're going to tell you our resources and for you to check it out yourself too. And see, it's a totally different thing. That's why we're not trained actors here. We're not trained reporters. We're not trained nothing. We're just conscious Americans that are worried about our country and the future of what direction we're going as a nation, as a people. But the talking points and the distractions is always never going to tell you the truth. That, you know what? You're not going to get out of the way of what they're building. You could prep all you want. You could save all your gold and silver. You could store all your food and all your perishables or whatever you're going to do. You're not going to be able to outlast them. They've got more food. They got more security. They got more wealth. And no matter what, they're going to push this agenda of a global government. But as long as we ignore it, it's implemented. If we as people address the issues, stop talking about the talking points, and deal with real world problems, we can invoke change. But that's why they give you the talking points. That's why they heavily entertain you. We as people don't have that luxury no more. I'm sorry to tell you, there is responsibilities put on your shoulders at this one exact moment in time. We're at a teeter-totter right now as a nation. This nation was changed the world in 237 years. Before man gained freedom, before they wrote the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights, we were always controlled by a monarchy, a king or queen, an oligarchy, or a communist society. Sometimes you got a democracy in there, but there was really no freedom to it. Well, we as people, something changed. Something changed the world upside down, inside out, and just totally put it in a direction that it wasn't intended to be by the globalists, and was man gaining freedom. It wasn't talking points, it was knowledge.
Exactly.
And then when gaining that knowledge of understanding, because see, back then, the people of America, they had to be educated of understanding the responsibilities of a republic. Well, that's why they wrote the Federalist Papers, and they put it in news articles. It wasn't the talking points of the first page of it, but it was on the second page, hidden because they really didn't want you to have that meeting, even back then. So when they wrote the articles with the Federalist Papers, they educated the people to understand about the responsibilities of the republic and how much freedom and prosperity it was going to bring to them. The right to own property, it was unheard of. Countries and governments didn't do that. So as the people got educated and they weren't talking points, but they were getting an education, it invoked a change. The people were backing behind the republic. So when people got wind of it around the world, that there was a new nation formed with freedom and property rights, and they wanted the immigrants. Come over here. Bring all, you have a trade, you got something to contribute. We want all people here. Bring us your hungry, bring us your poor. Something like Christ. We want everybody. And then look what we did as an American, not as a government, but as a country. See, most Americans think that country and government are the same thing when they're totally not. The Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, and the people, the communities, that is country. Government are the ones that put the stuff in your news, put the stuff inside the talking points. The government are the ones that put that stuff in your chemtrails and in your foods and in your TV. That's government, the ones that implement these unconstitutional laws. And the form of government that we have with checks and balances within it, any law that's unconstitutional should not be made into law. It should be vetoed. The judicial branch should say, nope, strike it down. But it's the executive branch and the legislative branch are pushing it through. And in America, heed the warning, your judicial branch is not doing their duties to obey the Constitution. From anybody who wants to come do it harm, domestic or foreignly, warning, America, warning. That's living in a country of men, not of laws. And when we live in that country, look at the direction where we're going. So the talking points, cut them out already. Real world knowledge. Getting into the alpha state of mind. Critically thinking. Consciously doing something. The righteous thing. The right thing. Why do you think God put it on your shoulders? You think he put it on your shoulders because he didn't think you're capable of dealing with it? No, he put it on your shoulders because he knows that you, with the right knowledge, that could confirm the righteousness within man. To do the right thing. But we as people let him take God out of the picture. We let him take out of the schoolyard. We take him out of the conversation. And look where we're going as a people. So the talking points, that's the instrument and the entertainment of the devil. You guys remember the devil wasn't this evil thing with horns. He was the most beautiful angel that God had. And what was he? He was the master of distraction and entertainment, of music. And look what they're doing with us. They're distracting us, entertainment, and using it with music. Hey, there's a really big problems that we're facing as a people. So let's get to country and let's get to our faith. Let's push off those talking points and let's address real issues.
Exactly. Just like you said, just preparing, no matter how much you prep, it's still, that's only 50% of it. It's probably only really 20% of it. It's the knowledge. It's the preparing, arming yourself with knowledge, knowing what's going to happen and telling others about it, having conversations with your neighbor. Just doing nothing and knowing it's going to happen is actually, it's a sin.
Yes, it is.
It is a sin to know what is to come and then not only not caring, but maybe only just caring enough for yourself and your family. That's not enough.
That's not
enough. If you're not, every chance I get, as long as I see that they're open-minded enough, I will instill a little, hey, did you hear about that? Let me tell you something about the Federal Reserve. Do you know what, you got to talk to people. And if you're not actively trying to do that, I'm not saying you have to do it all the time, but you need to make an effort every day to talk to people, whether it be about, hey, if it's Jesus, if it's talking to someone about, hey, you know what, Christianity has really helped my life, let's talk about it. Or telling people, hey, do you know what the federal government's doing? Do you know what UN Agenda 21 is? Waking people up to realize that we're under attack. Humanity's under attack. And if you're not willing to fight in the info war, and I've come to know this, the more that I do this, if you're not willing to do this, you're going to be, when all hell breaks loose, you're just going to cower. I mean, you're not going to know what to do. You're not going to really be prepared because you didn't prepare mentally. And because we don't want a civil war. We don't want to have to defend our families by shooting people that try to come and take our food or whatnot. We don't know what's to come, but you need to reach out to people first, even if they're in a bad situation, even if even if there's someone you don't want to talk to, but they need help. You need to try to make that effort to help those people, and any way you can, because when it comes down to it, you can't just hoard and expect to be okay, because it's two parts. I mean, we're going to be attacked at all levels, and it's very important. And just quit with the talking points. Just don't listen to them.
Let me explain it like this, America. This is an analogy that I give to people. See, most people, like I said, it's a talking point. Say entertainment and distraction. That's all the people that are sitting in the living room right now watching the TV. But see, there's some people that are concerned, some people that have some knowledge, but they're in the kitchen. And in the kitchen, we're sitting around the table, we're having a conversation with loved ones, and we're talking. There ain't the TV. We're not being distracted, but there's a conversation. So there's a little bit more alpha state right there, rather than sitting in front of the TV eating a TV dinner. That's a beta state. But see, the people, like coworkers that I have, there's people that are conservatives or even some liberal Democrats. They have some knowledge of information that we covered, and they know the stuff that we're talking about, but there's no action. Exactly. Those are the people that are still just maybe on the phone or sending a text message. There's no action. But the people, like over there at the Bundy Ranch, the people like We Are Change, we're the ones that are going outside. We sat down. We're tired of sitting down. We're tired of being lazy. We're done talking about it, but we're out doing something. That's the change. When you actively do something to change what's happening, that's where the change will end up being. It's with you. It's not going to come from Washington. It's not going to come from your neighbor. It's not going to come from some guy on a winged horse or something.
Some local politician.
Yeah, it's not going to come from those people. It's the average person that's going to evoke this change. It's you. It's me, and we're no different than you are. I worked from 8 to 4:30 Monday through Friday. I still take time. I have to take time to be with my wife, to mentor my children and be there and share time, family time still with them. It's hard juggling this. And doing a radio show. I do a radio show on Fridays and on Sundays at wakingupthemasses.com. And I'm still trying to do YouTube videos. Sam got a brand new, beautiful baby there. He got a full-time job. But he still takes the time out of his life to do the righteous thing because it's the right thing to do. I tell you, we're all going to be judged by our actions and how we treat one another and what we've done. You guys need to test your faith. You want to see how much faith you got, America? Let me ask you this question. If God were to come to you right now and ask you to sacrifice one of your children, what would you say? A lot of people were like, ooh, I don't know. Well, see, when you meet him in heaven, he's going to say, ooh, I don't know. You need to sit down here real quick. Relax. But America, there's another test. There's going to be a knock at your door one day. And those people are going to want to come and do you some harm. And when they want to come do you harm, they're going to make you watch it as a husband. They're going to rape your wife, your daughter, sodomize your son. Do you think God would want you to drop to your knees and pray to him or protect yourself? A lot of people think, oh, well, God wants you to praise him. He wants you to pray for him. No, God don't like ugly. God don't like abortions. God preserves life. He wants you to protect yourself. But see, people don't know God because in our churches, we're not going to church anymore. We're going to a nonprofit organization. But see, the talking points are going to point those things out to you guys. The knowledge of understanding our faith today in society, of getting to your faith so we can unite as a people. As we stay divided as a Republican Party, Democrat Party, Catholics, Christian, Mormons, we're always divided. It's conquered. It's easy to take them down. But if we took away that facade and get to country, and then we put back to our faith, there's nothing that could destroy us. That's why they fear you, America. They fear you having this real world knowledge. Putting some accountability back to our government, they're afraid of that. But the only way we're going to do it is if we stop using the talking points and we start educating ourselves. When you want to invoke change, is it you as an individual, get off your butt and go do something. the right thing, the righteous thing to do. Maybe go into office, but get some knowledge before you go run for office. A lot of these people today don't have the knowledge of understanding government, but they want the job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? No, there's responsibility in taking that public service. Protect the American people and the United States Constitution. So if you have that knowledge, go into office, but don't be a politician. Come back home. And then you have your friend, your coworker, a loved one that has the same knowledge as you. Well, he does this term and then come home. But when the people stay as politicians, career politicians, they sold their soul to the devil. They accepted the bribe of the Federal Reserve and these banking systems. And a loss of American liberty and loss of freedom and humanity is in that direction. So those are the talking points. Those are the directions where we're going as a nation. The only way we're going to change it is we go the other way and start doing real things and start seeking knowledge and information.
Yeah, if you're not doing what you can right now, especially if you know in your heart that you should be doing a little bit more. He worked all day, took care of his family, and he's still here.
Haven't ate dinner.
Okay? We're all busy. Everyone's busy, especially the people still trying to make it in this Federal Reserve note printing society that we live in.
Yep.
But you have to do what you can as long as you can. Yeah, this country will collapse eventually, but we don't know when that's going to happen. It could be 10 years, it could be tomorrow. But while that's not happening, while it hasn't collapsed yet, we have to do everything we can to fill the masses in. I was at Chipotle the other day. I got a parent and two of her kids and a little child with her, and the little kid has these Dre Beats headphones on with an iPad at the table. His family seems to be the iPad. I'm sorry, that's just the reality of it. I mean, I'm not trying to, scold, or condemn parents that allow their kids to play on the iPads once in a while, but it was like a 6-year-old kid, and no one was talking to him. That's not how we need to raise our children.
Nope.
Okay? They don't, and as parents, and that comes down to the parent. If you're allowing your kids to play Xbox all day and not converse with other kids, play outside, if you're not making the effort to converse with them, you're not doing your job. And most of the problem is because you want to do the same thing. You want to just sit around and watch TV and be entertained. But really, when are you going to get sick of doing that? That's why I had to, when I was 21, I was sick of I knew I was being lied to. And I thought, is this really going to be the continuation of my life, is just being lied to and then accepting, caring about things I don't care about and faking like I care about them just to be like normal? No, that is not humanity, okay? There's so much we can be doing. Hey, if you're sitting on the couch all day, go learn a skill, go to the gym, go learn a martial art, go take dance lessons, take piano lessons. You gotta actually live life. Go out for a run, converse with people, have real conversations with people. There's just so much that we can do that we're not doing. Don't say you're bored. That's in this day and age. There is just we have so much entertainment, but we can create. We have the ability to create so much. But then we don't seem to care that our government's shutting down 2 million acres of land that we could actually be using, taking our families out and having a weekend without technology. They're taking that opportunity away from us, and we just don't care because we're worried about Jay-Z and Kim Kardashian's wedding photos or something. It's just Justin Bieber. You can't go to Yahoo News. I almost have stopped going to Yahoo News at all because I just can't even look at the front page because they're just obsessing with every talking points. Donald Sterling, talking point. All these talking points that don't mean jack at all, and it's a divide and conquer and a distraction, and it's keeping us from living our lives. Parents, do your job, okay? Kids, man, there's so much. Children are literally I remember when I was a kid, I had so many dreams and I wanted to run around and do everything that we need to understand that about children, and we need to nurture that and cherish that because they're taking it away with kids just being zombies now, and you're allowing that to happen. You don't have to let your kid have a cell phone when he's 4 or an iPad when he's 4. I've seen YouTube videos, 2-year-olds on iPads crying about where their iPad is. It's like, throw it out, burn it, talk to your children, help them develop.
Who's raising your kids? Hey, you live in Fresno, California. If your kids go to an after-school program, if you're like me, you're dropping your kids off at school at 7 o'clock in the morning, and you can't pick, hold on, did you hear what I just said? You can't pick up your child until 6 is he did the after-school program. So they got your kid for 11 hours. And then by the time you get home, you're tired, right? You just got off work, you got dinner, and then what's going to happen? They're going to sit in front of the TV, they're going to play some video games, and who's raising your kids? It's the school, the government, and Beyonce, Jay-Z, and the talking points. So what I'm telling you guys, you need to turn off the TV, you need to have a conversation with your kids and give them some knowledge. My kids came home, I've had them on my radio shows, and when we covered earlier that they took God out of the picture. Well, my youngest one was talking about, he was learning about Islam and he was learning about Muhammad and how Islam was implemented and where they got that faith. But we can't talk about Christianity. See, what are they teaching them? That was my junior high son. My son that's in high school, he comes talking to me about how Hitler, how he was doing good and how he was campaigning and what he was promising the people. He haven't got to the evils of Hitler yet, but what he was telling me was disturbing. I'm like, he was telling me good things about this man. It's like, well, I don't remember that part. I remember all the bad things. Well, so I had to consciously, because of what I'm trying to do with my life today, I started to introduce them to people like Noah Webster. This man, if you guys don't know who he is, was the one that came up with the Webster's Dictionary. He seen there's a problem in America, and he seen that there was no books that we had as an educational system. So he put it in his power to start doing that. And I think it's called the Little Blue Book or the Big Blue Book that he wrote with the first textbook that we had in America. But see, that's getting off the talking points, getting my kids away from the screen, getting away from the computer, and getting them real knowledge and information. We covered Thomas Paine, we covered Patrick Henry last week, and I'm going to cover them and go into more knowledge. See, we as people have to invoke change, and the way we do it is with the individual. So we are Change Fresno is going to do our best to bring you guys real topics, real news, and getting you to critically think and to question authority. Because if you don't, I leave my videos like I leave my radio show. I'm going to leave the show. If you're not going to do everything in power to restore your life, liberty, and this country, America, you're going to do everything in power to destroy all three. Charlie the Box out. We are Change Fresno.
Stop watching MTV, okay? You have power, use it. I'm out.
We're
Peace,
out.
love, and liberty.